Welcome to the video cast tonight. As usual, we're going to work on something really exciting. Again, we're continuing with the introduction to sales calls and what to do, where to go, how to do it, all that kind of stuff. And the last couple of videos we covered really the basis or the framework to get started with doing sales calls and what to expect. And tonight, what we're going to do is we're just going to really expand on that. And so welcome to part 3 of the journey into sales calls. You're going to love making sales calls after this. You're gonna love it because you have a formula to demystify what a sales call really is, a process to follow. And really everything seems difficult until you find the process to do it. And this is the process. So we've gone through part 1 and part 2. If you haven't already watched that, go back and watch those first, because that will lay the foundation for what we're going to get into. And you might be in a hurry to kind of start to create that sales call script and get out there, but I think it's important you cover the groundwork of what we covered in the last 2 videos, and they're not that long. All right. So have a look at those and then come back to this video. It'll still be up here. So with that, let me share the screen. There we go. So we've got part 3. What are we going to cover tonight is a couple of things. I'm going to go more in depth now to each of those sections that we touched on. So let's just flip back to the introduction to see what we covered. And we covered the introduction to the call. So we're going to go into depth into this today, and how, I'll give an example from Cindog Media, and you can basically cut and paste that and start to add, information about your business and develop this sales call script. So after about the next few videos, you will have a solid script that you can use to, go out there and start making calls for your business. So we are just going to cover the introduction tonight and also give you some tidbits on what to do, before making the call. I thought those two will probably go hand in hand. So this is part 3. Let's start off with what to do before you make the call. Just going to make this a little bit bigger. So you don't have to squint to see it. Go into slideshow. So what do you do before the call? Do you need to do anything? Can you just start making the call? Well, I've put down these points, and I'd love to make it all appear as I go through them. However, I've just laid it out. So the first thing is really to schedule a block of time. Now, it's really important. I'm going to stop the share. Schedule a block of time that you have put aside to make the call, right? So it's important that you don't get interrupted. You don't get interrupted during this period, because this is, when you are making these calls, you are in a certain mindset. And if you're getting interrupted with this and that and that and this, and, getting text messages and looking at your social media, it's not going to work. You've got to be dedicated, even if it's half an hour, you put that half an hour aside and just make the calls. You may only get about 4 or 5 calls done. That's fine. But you put it aside because you're in that mindset. You're in that positive mindset, visualizing a successful outcome. So that's the first step. Really put that time aside. The second thing is to have a list of numbers. Have a list of numbers names, numbers, email addresses. So you're ready to dial, you're ready to make those phone calls. So I would say, if you schedule in 1 to 2 hours, I would do that 6 to 3 times a week. What do I mean by that? So if it's only 1 hour you can dedicate at a time, I'd do that 6 times a week if you can. If it's 2 hours, well, you know, 3 times a week. So as you can see, both add up to around 6 hours worth of phone calling. Now, it might seem like a lot, but that time goes pretty quickly. And one thing I didn't put in here, and I'll put it in now, is when to make those calls. And typically, I would say, you know, it depends on who you're trying to reach or who you want to reach. So if you're just going straight to the business, obviously, if you just want to talk to someone who works in the business, I would say between 10 to 12 p.m. or 2 to 4 p.m. And if it's the owner, I would say before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. This may not make a lot of sense to you right now, but owners usually stay back or start early because they need to be there when the staff get there. So those are typical times. If it's a staff member that you're after, then even then they may be dropping their kids to school and picking them up. So you've got to adjust for those times so you make contact with those people. Just dialing and getting a voicemail is not going to really help you in the long run, right? So you've got to maximize your potential to reach those customers on that first call. Have a list of names, numbers, email addresses ready to go. So I've typically said between 20 and 60 dials in a session. So you need to have probably up to 3 times as many put in here times 3 many numbers. So that's really, if it's 20 to 60 dials, you want between 60 to 180 contacts. Have a spreadsheet ready at a minimum or a CRM with data loaded. So high level is what we've recommended that you use as your CRM. But if you want to start with a spreadsheet, there's nothing stopping you. All you need is your name, the contact name, email, and a place to take notes on, what day, like what outcomes you met during the call. I would also have another column for date and time, just so you keep a record of when you call last. You don't want to be, continually calling people and spam calling them, if you want to call it, because that's just going to get annoying. Have a ritual that you do before you get on the calls to get you in that state. This might be exercise, so you might go for a light jog, cold shower, affirmations, or a combination of these. When I say affirmations, some people call it declarations. Sometimes it's just pre-programming your mind using a certain set of words. I'll have a certain outcome today. I'm going to make. I've made 50 calls. I've made 60 calls, and I've connected with 20 people, and I've signed up 10 discovery calls with these customers, and just keep repeating that to yourself and visualize it, and then go in once you're in that positive state. So again, I've said visualize success before you start that call. Read out your script or read your script out loud several times before you start the call, and have it within visual range to fall back on if you get stuck. So that's a really important thing to do. Those of you who've done acting, you rehearse those lines and they just come out naturally like like you're saying it naturally. So for you to get to that state, it's really important to have that recited those words several times, and do this outside of your call time. So, you might take that script with you and just start using it. You have it in the car when you're waiting for someone, or just keep practicing it because it'll come out naturally. You don't want to sound like a robot. The last thing you want to do is sound like someone who's reading a script. Even though we're using a script, the eventual outcome of this is to lose the script, right? The script is just a starting point. It's just to get you started in making those calls, so you have a fallback mechanism for you to make the calls. I've put in a little bit of an extra slide in here, getting some inspiration for your sales script before we actually get onto the sales script. So a couple of things I've put is follow the instructions I provided in sales calls part 1 live video, and I'll put in parts 2 and 3. Get some help from ChatGPT to start with. So I've just done a little bit of a check here. Give me some cold calling. Give me a cold calling script for personal coaching businesses that is not pushy. Gives the customer 3 options to select from. For all 3 options, start with an introductory discovery call with a personal coach to see if the coaching program is a good fit, and it gives a fairly reasonable result. And just out of humour, I said, write this in an Australian for an Australian audience, and well, maybe it went a little bit too far. However, you can use ChatGPT to get some help. It may not give you exactly what you're looking for at this point, but specific sections I think might be worthwhile putting it in there and see what it can produce. So those are the 2 that I've got in terms of inspiration. You could also start to role play with if there's someone in the office with a colleague or your partner at home, to kind of just practice. Yeah. So I think that'll take you to that next level of being a little bit more confident with your script when you're talking to people. Again, just remember, the whole point of the script is to let it go. At a certain point, you will not need a script. So having said that, we are going to make a script. So I'm going to give you an example of an introduction, right? So this is just the first part. And, as we let's make this bigger to make it a little bit easier for you to see. As we go through this series of videos, we'll build upon this. So the first part is the introduction is, hi, prospect name. It's Harsha from Cindog Media. Just give them a bit of time to respond. They might go, yeah, Harsha, what do you want? Or what's this about? If you can do the groundwork and find a name of a person, great. If not, you're going to hit the gatekeeper, and you need to talk to the gatekeeper and establish rapport. So, hi, Jack, Jane. You recently downloaded a copy of our 1-page website planner. Does that sound familiar? Now, in this particular script, it's not so much for cold prospects. It's for people who've come to our website and downloaded something. So I'm going off something. So this could even read, something like prospect name. We recently sent you a pamphlet or a example package of our services. Does that sound familiar? Pause and wait for a response. I can see that your website, now this bit is really about establishing rapport. You probably do it a little bit better, or I could probably do it a little bit better, but I've just put in an example here. I can see that your website for customers company name was built a while ago. Are you planning a new website? Pause and wait for a response. Prospect name for Jack, John. The reason for my call today is we've been developing websites for customers such as yourself example, working closely with business communities in Canberra to understand how customers behave when they visit a website looking for answers. So you can craft a website that truly converts visitors into paying customers. Do you think that could be helpful? Now, remember in this paragraph, what you're trying to say is, what are the emotional um, problems that we're solving? What's the customer going to take away from solving that problem? And how do we convey that? So, when customers come to a website, what are they looking for and how do they behave? And how do you convert that into an action where they will, it'll convert them into visitors? So pause and wait for a response there. Now, this can be crafted into any particular business or product or service. There's just a really basic introduction. It probably needs a little bit more work. You'd likely put this into ChatGPT and see what the response is. Or you can rework this to fit your business. So that tailors it to your products and services. So I just want to give you an example of an introduction. It's not too pushy. It's not, I'm not asking for them to buy something straight away and pushing something in their mouth. I'm just saying, hey, this is the kind of problems that we solve. Is it something that might be interest to you? So I hope that helps to get started. I'd love to hear responses. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Harsha. I'm from Cindog Media, where we help you to market even better. If you need some help working on your sales calling script, whether it be for cold calls or warm leads that you've already got, reach out to us on our email, which is contact@cindogmedia.com. You can email us, or you can phone or SMS 0426794189, or you can simply go to our website, cindogmedia.com, and click the chat icon at the bottom right-hand corner and send us your name and email along with a message, and we'll be in touch. Thanks for joining in tonight. We'll continue with our sales call series over the next few days, so you can build your sales call script, and I look forward to catching you tomorrow night. Have a wonderful Christmas day tomorrow, and I'll catch you tomorrow if you are online. Bye for now.